Sport for sure is the only language spoken by all, but beyond all the excitement, the thriller, the joy, and jeering of the crowd, to every winner there should be a loser. But the bigger question is, what makes the difference between the winner and the loser? Catch me live on KBN TV, the finest television, on Topstar Channel 102, every Saturday 9 hours to 10 hours, and every Monday 18 hours to 19 hours, as every minute, every second of the sport is given an in-depth understanding of its contribution on Sports On. Because on Sports On, we believe stars turn into legends and legends into heroes right before the blow of the first whistle and the sound of the gun. We will take you on a journey beyond the pitch and behind closed doors as we understand the livelihoods of our heroes. Be sure to make a date every Saturday 9 hours to 10 hours and Monday 18 hours to 19 hours on Topstar Channel 102, KBN, the finest television on Sports On. Sports On, powered by Betway. Betway, the right way to bet. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me, Gavinda Galimina, on a very, very beautiful Monday. It is actually, a weekend after independence, a busy weekend in sports all over the country. I mean, we had the charity show in Kitwe. We had, just an announcement today, actually, that the league is quick starting this coming weekend. So we have a busy week ahead and a busy weekend that we had ahead. And we're going to be telling you some of the games and some of actually, the activities that were taking place all around the country and elsewhere on actually Sports Extra. This is KBN, the finest television. We are on Topstar Channel 102. Or you can follow our proceedings live on our Facebook page, which is KBN TV. Now, to quick start the program, ladies and gentlemen, I'm joined by two gentlemen from within Lusaka. These are actually sports analysts. The gentlemen that are going to be joining me today in the show is actually Winford and Mr. Brian. Now, these are very important, the gents actually in the sports arena around the country, because they move around just to get familiarized themselves actually with what is happening around. So they'll be helping me analyze the games that took place and also the games that are to come ahead of the week as we look forward to the start of actually, the league games this coming actually weekend. Gentlemen, welcome to the finest television.
Yeah, good evening, and it's my pleasure to be on the show once more. Good evening, Brian.
Good evening, Winford. Good evening, Ralimina.
Galimina Gavinda.
I'm looking at how Brian is dressed. It seems, Brian, you had a busy man there.
I can see you have a busy Monday.
I'm sure you know the reason why.
Now, gentlemen, maybe to quick start the program, let's look at the friendlies that Zambia had, and where they both emerged victorious in the two friendlies they had, winning 2-1 in the first game and 3-1 in the second game. Let's start with you, Brian. Your overall actual analysis and reaction and contribution to the games that Zambia had recently.
The victory were of a great importance to the national team, as well as the national team. Talk about the player themselves, the coach, as at large. Remember, I've rated Coach Mitchell so far with the games he has played. Of course, just friendlies is yet to be tested. Internal competition, which will be of importance to the nation. But so far with the friendlies, I didn't get to say one thing that I've picked up from this, that man who is able to read the game is able to change formation, to change the tactics of the game, and change the complexion of the game altogether. And in the end, that's what being changed, and mostly in favor of Zambia losing to Kenya. And more soccer fans would say that was actually after a referee man actually did deny us that late equalize. So from the two friendlies that we've played against Ethiopia back to back, remember we were supposed to play, but due to failure in the arrangement of transportations and other logistics around the movement of the South Sudanese national team, to make it to Ethiopia. So we had to play Ethiopia. So in the first game, Zambia won by 2-0 in the game that they were coming behind twice. Ethiopia scored first, we equalized. They scored again. We had to come back from behind, equalize, and then in the end grab that important win. The coach did say it was of a great strength to him how the team was getting goals, and he seemed to have worked on that problem. Look at this yesterday, 3 goals half, and that was no goal that Ethiopian counterparts were able to score, and that sends a very, very strong message Coach Micho in as far as how he's made up the team, how he's trying to solidify that defense that has been one of his in the team that he wants to come up with.
Now, Winford, I know very well, you are one of actually the king followers of the Zambia League and the Zambian players, and you're trying as much as possible to market the Zambian players. How excited are you to see a coach that is really keen in developing Zambian players, to see them perform, at a national level? Because one thing I've come to understand about Coach Micho is he's more focused on the Zambian actually players who are playing locally than those who are abroad. How does that fare to a soccer administrator and the soccer marketer like you, Winford?
Yeah, thank you so much, Kevin. I think one thing I can concur with what Brian is just from saying. One thing that we've seen, I think, in Micho's game plan, we've, I think, come twice from behind to beat teams like South Africa and Ethiopia. So that simply shows that I think the mentality of the guys has been worked on. When you're able to come from a goal, then you're able even to score 1 or 2 goals. That simply shows that your mentality is high in terms of football. On the other hand, that you've put it to say the coaches more like put so much trust in the local players. Yeah, exactly. Because when you look at, I think, about all these friendly games that we've played, would agree with me to say that most at the time that when local introduced, I think, in the game, you'd even see some huge impact here and there. I can give you an example, I think, for the concerning the game that we played against Kenya. That was in Kenya. Immediately we introduced the likes of Muba, the likes of Emmanuel Chabura, everything changed. So that simply shows that our local players, I think, are up to the standard of competing with the foreign players. So, one thing I can just say, I think it's good for some of us who do promote and market local players that they are able to compete with these foreign players that we have. And this also gives an opportunity for them to compete at maybe at any international level concerning Chan. Remember, we're having Chan and even AFCON qualifiers just next month on 12 November against Botswana. So, I think Micho has done very well in terms of working on the mentality of the local players. They have observed is that I think that simply shows us that Zambian Super League is up to the standard. We had to beat South Africa with our local side. That shows that our league is up to the standard. Our league is improving on each and every day. So you can actually agree with me to say that since our local players are performing very well, that simply shows that our league is up to the standard. The second thing is the mentality in these players have changed. Micho has really tried to work on their mentality. That spirit he has always been talking about, the never give up spirit, is one thing that we've seen in the players. Look up at the game that we played against, the first game we played against Ethiopia. We were almost losing that game, but the guys, Kangwanda, Muba, they changed the game. Though that simply shows that our mentality of our players is up to the standard. That's what I can say in terms of the local players, one thing that Micho has done.
Okay, now Brian, maybe talking about, we've talked about the local players. Let's go abroad and look at the weekend wrap and how our players actually performed out there. And we are back now to the one debate, because Patson Daka scored over the weekend. He keeps scoring in the league, but when you talk about big games like in the UEFA Champions League, he doesn't score. Is Patson Daka, from your perspective, Brian, do you think Patson Daka is still maybe a small team player? He can't play against big teams and score?
I don't think so. Patson Daka, for me, is one who can play against any other team around. Maybe one thing that our brother Patson Daka should work on is when it's to big stage match. I think we've seen him not really composing himself, gathering himself in trying to make sure that he impresses the masses back home. So that's one thing that I observe about her. Like, if you remember in the game against Liverpool, I think that was one of his competitive game, the biggest so far at his level. He looked so very, he looked so uncomposed. It was like he was putting so much pressure on him in trying to. So that's one thing that he should try to work on. In the he played against Lokomotiv, he was winning for his side in the minutes of that encounter, but Allah wasn't the case. He literally gave that last kick goalkeeper the easiest of the saves in that game for Lokomotiv goalkeeper. For me, he just composed to big stage. We do under pressure comes with these big matches, but one person is one player can do it and meet the expectation of so many Gambians and Australians playing this trade currently. One thing that I would also love to talk to Patson Daka and how those moved out of that compared to that league, the Australian Bundesliga. For me, league really not provide needed competition for the boys. There's no way a team, when they play a local game, that tells a lot. Look at how competitive the league is. You can never tell who is winning the league or who is winning a game on a particular day. So that's the league that Patson Daka in. If they can move to German, even in frontier of the EPL, that is the championship, for me that would be good. The Australian Bundesliga, for these two guys, for me it's coming a Farmers League.
Okay, now maybe Winford, elsewhere, we've talked about Fashion Sakala as well being one of, maybe a selfish striker who always wants to score goals. But over the weekend, Fashion Sakala scored one goal and actually even assisted. Your reaction on Fashion Sakala's performance, both in the game that just passed and the game that he came for the friendlies in Zambia, knowing too well that this is the first time we're talking, from the friendlies game we had on the international break.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kevin. I think Brian, has put it in a good way concerning our guys, Patson and Mwepu. For me, I would agree with him because they have conquered the Austrian Bundesliga, and it's time I think they move to a better league. I think this season will be their last in the Austrian Bundesliga. Coming to Fashion Sakala, when we look at this guy, we say that he's a selfish striker, always wants to score goals, dribble here and there. But that's football in some extent. I think that's one thing I can say. When you look at our three Southern Africa players that we have in Belgium, I think there is Pestau of South Africa, there is Moleji Musona of Zimbabwe, and our own Fashion Sakala. When you look at these guys, Fashion is one of them who is doing wonders. So for me, that's a good thing for him since he's been, enjoying the form. He's scoring goals. Yesterday, the team won 3. He contributed with an assist and a goal. That simply shows that the guy has got anger for success and in terms of goals. Last season, Fashion scored about 8 goals in the Belgium Pro League. And We had some rumors of him maybe moving to Newcastle, West Ham, and some other Spanish teams. So all in all, I think the guys got anger. And when you look at what Mitch was saying that I'll be using guys who are performing, especially overseas players. So that is in his mind to say, okay, look, the coach is saying that we won't be calling those players who are up to the standard in terms of playing at their various clubs. So it's one thing that is more like motivating him to put in some good work. And on the other hand, I think we need just to give some time to our guy. The guy is a good player, but we can't just be expecting him maybe to be doing wonders here and there. Then the other thing I've observed about Fashion is that I think when it comes to international matches, I think is sometimes long used. You know, in the game that we played against South Africa, he was used as a false nine. Evans Kangwa was on the left flank. Yeah, sometimes he operates, I think, in that position. But for me, I see Fashion to be an outright winger, more like Sadio Mane, who can cut in and I think find an opportunity to bury a goal. So all in all, the guy is doing good. The guy is up to the standard in terms of scoring goals. If I'm not mistaken, this season I think is scored in the Belgium Pro League and 3 assists, which is good in terms of our players who are performing overseas. The other guy I think I can mention is Gampani. Gampani is also doing very well in South Africa at SuperSport United. If you watched the game yesterday, I was watching the game yesterday. Right now, he's even in the team of the week in ABSA, currently called DSTV. So, all in all, Fashion is a good striker. Given time, I think he's still young. He's going to develop into a better striker that the nation will rely on.
Okay, well, gentlemen, let's go for our first break. We'll be back on the other side as we talk about actually the fixture that has just been released by FAS. We'll be back on the other side. Let's go for a break. Sport for sure is the only language spoken by all, but beyond all the excitement, the thriller, the joy, and jeering of the crowd, to every winner there should be a loser. But the bigger question is what makes the difference between the winner and the loser. Catch me live on KBN TV, the finest television, on Topstar Channel 102, every Saturday 9 hours to 10 hours, and every Monday 18 hours to 19 hours, as every minute, every second of the sport is given an in-depth understanding of its contribution on Sports On. Because on Sports On, we believe stars turn into legends and legends into heroes right before the blow of the first whistle and the sound of the gun. We will take you on a journey beyond the pitch and behind closed doors as we understand the livelihoods of our heroes. Be sure to make a date every Saturday 9 hours to 10 hours and Monday 18 hours to 19 hours on Topstar Channel 102, KBN, the finest television on Sports On. Sports On, powered by Betway. Betway, the right way to bet. Sport for sure is the only language spoken by all, but beyond all the excitement, the thriller, the joy, and jeering of the crowd, to every winner there should be a loser. But the bigger question is what makes the difference between the winner and the loser. Catch me live on KBN TV, the finest television, on Topstar Channel 102, every Saturday 9 hours to 10 hours, and every Monday 18 hours to 19 hours, as every minute, every second of the sport is given an in-depth understanding of its contribution on Sports On. Because on Sports On, we believe stars turn into legends and legends into heroes right before the blow of the first whistle and the sound of the gun. We will take you on a journey beyond the pitch and behind closed doors as we understand the livelihoods of our heroes. Be sure to make a date every Saturday 9 hours to 10 hours and Monday 18 hours to 19 hours on Topstar Channel 102, KBN, the finest television on Sports On. Sports On, powered by Betway. Betway, the right way to bet. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for staying with us. You're watching Sports Extra. This is the finest television, KBN, and I'm talking to two very important, gentlemen actually in the sports arena around the country. These are gentlemen that are keen interested, in the game of soccer and other games. They're sports analysts who try at all costs and at all means to understand the game and how best the Zambian game can be developed. I'm talking to Brian, and I'm also talking to actually Mr. Winford. Now, gentlemen, Nkana was playing in Denny, actually on Saturday, and Nkana did what they do best, already. Brian, how do you rate Nkana's performance in that game and maybe going into the coming season?
A win is a win, and we should congratulate them for that, for winning the Charity Shield. I think the second time in succession, and all I can say for now is a congratulations to Nkana and Manfred being to yet another silver plate. But coming back to the game itself, yes, the work alone needs to be done. The question of CAF Champions League is concerned by Ghana. There's a lot more that to be done by, especially on the front line. Idris Ilunga Mbombo seems to be the only man to be doing the work. But what if he's injured or is not, to club? What will happen? So for me, they need really a backup to Idris Mbombo. Also, I also did see some elapses in the midfield defense a little bit. So, but the mid going forward, that's where my concern is. So if they can try to force striking, giving some backup to Idris Ilungambo, maybe they will be able. My main worry is participating in Champions League, because it can be easy for them locally, but what we want now, club, a team to represent Zambia, that to conquer on behalf of Zambia. We are tired of seeing TP Mazembe, Leeds Arabs teams batting out on their own. Just imagine the semi-finals. We had all the 4 teams from then, which is not supposed to be the case. We should be seeing teams from down here, Southern Africa, to be precise, Zambia to be right and representing them as well as the country. But that won't come, not you. These said teams we want to see in the tournament, going all the ways and obviously improving in all departments. So defining departments so that they can represent us well. But this team, they seem to be on a good run, but they should improve on what I've just highlighted.
Okay, now Winford, Indeni have been tested once, against Nkana, and they went down on. They would have been, crowned the first cup winners of the coming season. They are playing actually Zanaco over the weekend. Your reaction on Indeni's gameplay and maybe your prediction on how they are going to fare in the coming season?
Yeah, I think for me, I would say that I wasn't impressed so much with where they played that game against Nkana. And I can attribute that, I think, to the 6th tournament, which was held, I think, in Lusaka at National Hero Stadium. I think Indeni won that tournament, and I think they went on to sleep. Then they realized, since we are able to beat the likes of Zanaco, Forest Rangers, and they played Green Buffaloes in the finals, they went on to sleep, and we were thinking to say, okay, since we've beaten these big guys in the league, we will be able to beat Nkana. And you've been following Indeni Facebook page. I think it's interesting. They even produced a picture where a big person was more like a Wallopin, a small guy, where they had to put the Nkana logo. So for me, I think they really have to do a lot of work. They really have to do a lot of work for them to remain in the Zambia Super League. Because when you look at that game, they didn't play very well. There was no coordination. There was no information. I think they had some good experience. There was Aaron Katebe there. He's one of the, I think, well-experienced players in the Zambian Super League, and he's doing things overseas. When you look at the striker, I think they are relying so much on Graven Chitaru. For me, I would say Graven has done so much for the Zambian Super League. So, Indeni, if they are going to continue playing like that, Zambian Super League, they won't stay this season. They'll be relegated. They really need to do a lot of work. Coach David Churufia has got a lot of work to do. Over the weekend, they signed the goalkeeper coach, Mr. Mpunga. Is a very experienced trainer in terms of goalkeepers. And I think that can also put the team on a good note, given that you also bring in some experience. But over the weekend at Sunset, we are watching them playing against Zanaco. I don't think so they are going to win that game, because with the way they played against in Ghana, there was no formation. If you really watch that Samuel Munjovu finals, when you look at the goals that Idris and Mbombo scored, would even agree with me to say that there was some lapses in their defense. This guy Gondwe tormented their midfield. So in the end, all in all, I think they did have to do a lot for them to make sure that they remain in the Zambian Super League.
Now, interestingly, and one funny thing is, when you talked about the picture that was trending on Facebook about, that was running on the Indeni page, Brian smiled. Brian, does it mean you saw the picture?
Or maybe the one behind that.
Yeah, it might be the one. maybe it doesn't.
You know what?
Now, let's look at the. Let's look at the weekend fixtures. Brian, we can start with you. Power Dynamos versus Young Green Eagles. Don't you think this is going to be an interesting cracker over the weekend?
Interesting in the sense that Power Dynamos, Young Green Eagles are coming into this particular game. And a lot of people would love to see what a lower division football come with when these years against one of the best in the league, especially when it comes to the coach himself, the players that have signed. But I must say it will be an interesting game to see how the young lads who actually react to the giants. One of the giants for Zambia, so that will be interesting, but will be otherwise it must walk over for Power Dynamos on paper, of course. But being it comes with a lot of prizes. We may just be for a big shocker as we open the 2020-2021 ending Zambia FAZ Super Division.
Winford, Kitgum United versus the Prison Leopards. I feel this is going to be an interesting encounter. I'm worried it has come on the first weekend. Your reaction to this fixture?
Yeah, like you've put it, I think these are the guys who are coming, I think, the National League. And when you look at the table, I think in the just ended National League, Indeni was on top, followed by Prison Leopards, then Kitgum United. Yeah, it will be an interesting fixture given that these are two newcomers in the Zambian Super League for this season. And one thing I can just tell you is that these guys have got experience. Kitgum United have played before the Zambian Super League on I think on a lot of times, as well as Prison Leopards. So this will be, I think, a cracker. And only I think looking forward to seeing Coach Mwansa from Kitgum United and the Prison Leopards of Kabwe. I think to see how they're going to find this game. But all I can say in terms of preparation and everything, I think Prison Leopards have done, I think, a lot. They were just playing recently a friendly game against Zanaco at Sunset. The first game they lost, the third game they drew. They have played, I think, against a lot of teams on the Copper Belt, Sambishi, and prepared very well. With Kitgum United, yeah, they have done some signings. There is Ian Isidro there. They have brought in some new guys. And I saw some guy coming from Kenya. And for me, I would say it will be an interesting fixture. But I think Prison Leopards is going to carry. I think that day, even if they'll be away, they'll be in Kitwe. They are going to have an advantage. I can give them a 60% and Kitgum United 40%.
Well, interesting stuff there. I wish the Buchi boys all the best. It would be interesting to be in Kitwe on this day. Now, actually, Brian, the big money spenders are playing in Lusaka Dynamos. Lusaka Dynamos, a mid team, a log. Whenever the league comes to the end, they're always on the middle. They are never relegated. They are never in top four. They're just there on the middle. They are playing the big money spenders. Your reaction on that game?
Quite interesting when you look at that game, Butcon against LOG. Prior to this day, we did see, before actually, we did see a former polo coach, Wetson Yerenz, where we couldn't see him training with the team, and all that questions were asked, and that actually indicate Ian Bakala was with the team, so a lot of questions were raised. And going into this game, you would love to know if at all it will be Tony Render on the bench or Ian Bakala who continue as the head coach, and that should actually raise a lot of concern. It's a game that, for me, it will actually just take the best team of that particular day. Otherwise, we do not, I personally do not expect much of sparks in that particular game. It will be a game that any team could go on and carry the day. But looking at the investment things I've pushed in, this should have been one of the best game of the league. But to tell you the truth, it doesn't like one.
Okay, now maybe Winford, you know, one of the two biggest games of the weekend is going to be Green Buffaloes against Red Arrows, because I know we'll be competing both on the land and in air to see who is on the middle. Where is your money at on this game? Green Buffaloes versus Red Arrows.
Yeah, I think it will be an interesting encounter. Like to put it, I think some will be will be able to see which one is okay on the land and I think in the air between Arrows and GBFC. But when we look at these two teams, they are coming from the the defense forces, so it will be a defensive derby. And Red Arrows is, I think, is at home at Ankoloma Stadium. And this season, Green Buffaloes, I think they were in Luapula Province, Kawambo, if I'm not so mistaken, where they, I think, were doing the match fitness and everything. And they have played some good friendly matches. They have brought in some new blood. When you look at Arrows, I think for me, I would say Arrows have rebranded themselves. They released about 5+ veteran players. That includes Danny Munyao, Joseph Zimba, and others. And they have brought in some new flesh blood. It will be an interesting encounter. When you look at these two teams, there are two teams that will try this season to fight for continental platforms. I want to mention that maybe they will be pushing for a title, but one thing I know is they will be pushing for platforms, especially Red Arrows. It's been long since they, I think, played continental football. And I'm expecting a lot from this game, given that these two teams have just rebranded themselves in terms of bringing some fresh blood. When we look at Red Arrows, they have brought in new players, new staffs at the club. When you go to Green Buffaloes, the same has happened. They have done a lot in terms of bringing. They just signed, I think, a defender, Frederick Mimanzi from Cabo Wales, and other guys. So it will be also an interesting encounter, and I'm expecting a lot. But you know, I don't want to predict it will be a fair game, given that each team that will prepare very well before the match they are going to carry the day.
Okay, now, Brian, you know, one of the most unfortunate teams last season, or the close of, you know, the cut short season, was Napsa Stars. Napsa had put everything they had in them to lift the title, but they were unfortunate at the end, or towards the end, you know, of the league. They will be playing Zesco United. I think that's a test for them, a very big test. What do you think about this game that actually will be happening, you know, in Lusaka, Napsa Stars versus Zesco United?
Big this one, Napsa Stars, the pensioners, up Mr. Zesco United, the electricity. What Zesco they've actually reinforced that, like some Sakanya, Wangakamba, other players we all know power that are in the team, talk of Where is Sword and others. But Napsa put of us that we must mention the team that always does well, but the way they get to meet whatever the problem that is. But ask me, we have a discussion with their general manager actually, of the team, Mr. Senior, if I'm not mistaken with them. They actually didn't get to meet good programs that as to make that this round. They do not just compete for the top 4, but for the we should also be quick to bring that. Also, in the farming competition, that is a CAF League. It will order for them. It is to have too many this time, it won't only be for the league, but also for the continental showpiece. So this is a bit, not only on this day that they'll be playing against, actually the game against should really give us an indicator, or also a way in which we should see them, how they will be approaching the continental competition. A big game, for asked me on that particular day. I can eat my money on
Okay, now Winford, I feel now the next game should be the biggest game of the weekend, where Forest Rangers are going to be playing Kana, and it's the biggest game of maybe the weekend, because we know what happened on the last day, you know, of this just ended season. Moreover, if Kana wins this league and they go on to win the CAF games, they might just be the first team to win the treble in Zambia. How important is this league first to Nkana? And maybe what are your predictions over this game, Forest Rangers against Nkana, that will be played in Ndola?
Yeah, thank you so much. I think for me, first I would start with, it's so unfortunate that I think in Ghana has a midfielder in the name of Crispin Wadomulenga. I think the guy played the last game during the Samuel Zumunjo finals, and he had an accident yesterday, and today it was confirmed by the Ghana Football Club to say they have lost a guy. May he so rest in peace, Chris. He played for Forest Rangers, Rumana Legends, and Power Dynamos, as well as in Ghana Football Club. But coming to the game, it would be like you put it, these are the two who are fighting for the last season trophy. When you look at that game that they played at Data Davis, I think it was an amazing match that almost everyone wanted to watch. And when you look at these two teams, these are two teams who will be representing us as a country in the continental football of Champions League. Forest Rangers, yes, they have done well in terms of rebranding and bringing some good and experienced players. They just signed, I think, a player from East Africa. I've just forgotten his name. Within Ghana, I think Brian mentioned to say that I think they only love, I think, Idris Mbombo in terms of giving them goals. So this will be an interesting game, because the team that is going to carry, I think, the day will be the team that everyone will be looking forward to in terms of winning this year's trophy. And they will be looking up to these teams in the in the CAF Champions League. So the team that is going to carry the day, you even see that us analysts, bloggers, and everyone who follows Zambian football will be saying to say, okay, for us to do wonders in the Champions League because of they had to beat in Ghana at their home stadium. But all in all, it will be an interesting fixture, and it's something that it's a game that is a bit difficult in terms of predicting, because when you look at these two teams, these are the two. Ghana is a very big teams. Forest Rangers, they have just rebranded themselves. They have done wonders in terms of marketing, starting from marketing up to bringing some players. They were recently in Mansa. I think over the weekend they were playing a friendly match against Konkora Blades, if I'm not mistaken. And in Ghana, we just saw they were just from lifting that trophy. So they have already they have already that motive of winning this game, because they are coming from a win that was in the finals with Inden. So when you look at that, you can even agree with me to say that Nkana is already motivated. I think they want to continue from where they ended last season, and from where they ended, which is a trophy. All in all, I think we're just wishing, I think, all the best to the two teams, and we're going to see who's going to carry the day.
Okay, now, Brian, you know, the Tonga 20 boys of Ujoma will be traveling to actually Kabwe, where they'll be playing against the Kabwe Warriors. How do you think this game is going to go? Because one thing that worries me about Kabwe is an in-off season type of, a team. When you look at the way they played in the transitional, that transitional league, or that transitional session we had, that transitional season, they played so well. Last season, they were not at their best. How do you think they're going to take this season going forward, and the first game being against the Tonga 20 Green Eagles of Choma?
A big match for them. Obviously, a huge bench top of their head that they need to carry, and obviously try all what they can to make sure that they write down so many names that have been given to that particular town. You can name it. Some funny have been given to that town. But facing like a Green Eagles, who are now title contenders rather of the league each season for the past 2-3 seasons. You cannot take away anything from them. Traveling all the way from a southern base into Central Province, you don't expect them to give it up so easily. On Kawa Warriors, they put it to say Kawa Warriors an on-kind of a team. This season they perform like this. The other transitional season they were opening it. If I didn't not for Red Arrows, who also did I think a on them last season. It's a hard thing to predict on teams like Kawa Warriors because you will never know what they will be able to pack for you on per day. But thinking of the others, Green Eagles, a team that has got so much ambition, the team that has much to achieve, just the coach, the management, they've tried everything and they've been everything to make sure that this over the team is lifted. Talk over their stadium lifted, and we only pray that it will be that by the inspectors that be able to host the competition. Be reminded of I agree also that in the competition. So in that to want it more than Kawa for me on this particular day.
And maybe finally on the weekend fixtures, as we look forward to the start of actually the 2020-2021 MTN FAS, actually Super League. Lumwana Radiants will be playing, the police-sponsored side, Nkwazi, and Nkwazi will be traveling away to Lusaka, to go and play Lumwana Radiants. I feel a mid-team game. What is your reaction, to Lumwana Radiants versus Nkwazi, United playing this weekend?
I think, like you've put it, I think these are the two teams who have, I think, stayed in the Zambian Super League for quite some time. When you look at Nkwazi, I think the Nkwazi that we had 5 years ago, it was Nkwazi of winning promotion, getting back to Division 1, winning promotion, getting back to Division 1. But I think the Zambia Police, in conjunction with, I think, the current exec that they have at Nkwazi, they have done so well in terms of making sure that this is a team that can fight for even for continental, if it's possible, even for a trophy. I think, if I'm not so mistaken, in the transition league, Nkwazi was almost playing I think the continental football when they had Chris Kaunda as their head coach. They only had to do a game, I think, in Lumwana, if I'm not mistaken. So when you look at this team, it's a team that has just been rebranded. They have got the hottest striker that you have currently in the Zambian Super League, the one that we are depending on in the name of Chavula. They have got the likes of Spasho Kalandanya. So I think it will be an interesting match. When you look at Lumwana Radiants, this is a team that has also as an experienced coach in the name of Coach Patrick Piri. He's a very experienced coach who knows Zambian football from A up to Z. So it will be an interesting fixture. When you look at these two teams, they'll be looking forward to start, I think, the game with a win. Lumwana, this season, I know what they're trying to achieve. They are trying to make sure that it's not a team of always fighting relegation. They want to make sure that it's a team that will be contending for the trophy at the end of the season, as well as maybe continental platforms. Nkwazi also at the same time is a team that is not always want to be fighting relegation each and every year that comes. So this will be an interesting fixture, Kabinda and Brian. When we look at these two teams, these are the two teams that have, I think, stayed and have maintained their momentum in the Zambia for the past 3 seasons.
Okay, well, gentlemen, we'll be going to talk about the games over the weekend in Europe. But before we talk about the games, that happened in Europe, the fixtures and how the log is standing, let's just get interested about watching the Zambian League by this clip that was posted by FAS. So you can just watch the start of the league and how important it is for people to watch actually the start of the Zambian League. Then we'll be back on the other side as we talk about the Europe games that happened over the weekend. Sport for sure is the only language spoken by all, but beyond all the excitement, the thriller, the joy, and jeering of the crowd, to every winner there should be a loser. But the bigger question is, what makes the difference between the winner and the loser? Catch me live on KBN TV, the finest television, on Topstar Channel 102 every Saturday 9 hours to 10 hours, and every Monday 18 hours to 19 hours, as every minute, every second of the sport is given an in-depth understanding of its contribution on Sports On. Because on Sports On, we believe stars turn into legends and legends into heroes right before the blow of the first whistle and the sound of the gun. We will take you on a journey beyond the pitch and behind closed doors as we understand the livelihoods of our heroes. Be sure to make a date every Saturday 9 hours to 10 hours and Monday 18 hours to 19 hours on Top Star Channel 102, KBN, the finest television on Sports On. Sports On, powered by Betway. Betway, the right way to bet.
Well, I think the local league is now getting excited.
In your face, the players, the fans, you do not get anything better than that.
It's going to be an electric affair.
You may have won the battle, but we have won.
Trying to land a beautiful goal! Cometh the hour, cometh the man. And it's
Who will lead the charge in the mighty battle of the MTN Class Super Division? Steel yourself for exceptional performances, epic rivalries, and emerging heroes.
And it's a goal!
This
Well, that is the thriller we are looking forward to, to the start of the 2020-2021 MTN Fuzz, league. Beautiful scenes are there. You can see the power, the hunger for teams to want to win, the pushing and everything. Interesting stuff. Now, gentlemen, as we wrap up and as we come to the end of today's segment, I know we still have a few minutes. Let's talk about Italy. Actually, let's just look at the logo in Italy. Let's look at the logo in Italy and your reactions to how the logo is standing so far in Italy. So you can just put the logo for us here. That is the logo in Italy, gentlemen. Now, what is your reaction to the logo standing so far in Italy? We can start with you, actually, Brian. Where has Brian gone? Maybe, Mr. Weston, we can start with you on the log standing in Italy as we look at the games that happened over the weekend. Is this why you expected teams?
Thank you.
Is this why you expected Juventus to be?
No, I don't expect Juventus to be where they are right now. When we look at the table, I think Juventus are not supposed to be on the 5th position. But no, look, this is football. I think overall in Europe, I think top 5 leagues, you can talk of England, Spain, and Germany, even as Italy and France. I think this season we've seen teams that were not expected to be on top. And I'm just happy to see Milan performing wonders, AC Milan, because this is a team that has got so much history in terms of football in Europe. And they are doing wonders. I think Zlatan Ibrahimovic's spirit has helped them. When we look at Juventus, yesterday they failed to win that game, and everyone was expecting that game to be owned by Juventus. And a lot of soccer fans were saying, no, Juventus is not Juventus without Cristiano Ronaldo. Oh, I can agree with that, because most of the games that he's missed, I think they have failed to make it. And maybe I'm just hoping that Andrea Pirlo is going to turn Juventus into a side that is known in terms of being a powerhouse of football in Europe.
And maybe before I let you go, before I switch to Brian, Pirlo is trying to find a way to use Dybala, Morata, and Ronaldo in the same game under a formation of
in the same game.
Do you think that is going to work for Juventus, where you have Morata, Ronaldo, and Dybala?
Yeah, for me, I would say that it's not going to help as long as we're using, I think, those two in front. When we look at, I think, these 3 players, Morata, Dybala, and Ronaldo, yes, they are world-class players, especially the 2, Dybala and Ronaldo. But I think position is one thing that really matters. Ronaldo is not now an outright winger that we used to know, I think, 10 years ago, 5 years ago at Madrid and at Manchester United. But this season is more like a centre forward. When you look at Dybala, he's got also similar, I think, characteristics. When you look at Morata is a number 9. So I think that will mean that he's going to push either Ronaldo on the left or on the right flank, and that is not going to deliver him some results. Or, I think Pirlo needs to have an outright winger, the likes of Bernardes, who can be putting some crosses. you know Ronaldo this time is we call him to be a headmaster because he's always been scoring goals using his head. So he needs players who can put in some crosses to make sure that he barring those chances. But all in all, Pirlo should just find a way of, I think, using these three in one team. And once that is found, I think he's going to make it at Juventus.
Well, thank you very much there. And now, Brian, let's look at his Spanish and the log in Spain. Let's look at the Spanish, La Liga and the log standing there. Where Madrid emerged victorious 3-1 over the weekend in the El Clasico. Now, Brian, do you think the El Clasico is still the El Clasico we knew without Ronaldo and Messi having his best of days, actually? Do you think the Clasico still has that power? Brian?
From different. For me, El Clasico is not the way it used to be, even before Messi and Ronaldo, the times of Zinedine Zidane from Madrid, Ronaldo guys, and I remember the times of when Ronaldinho, Thierry Henry joined Barcelona. Everything has changed. I don't know, maybe it's because of COVID-19 or anything. It's like this pandemic has its own change, but El Clasico slowly it is losing its energy we used to know, and it's the better the La Liga guys realize this. The sooner they realize this, the better. Because for me, watch that game day, it's like I was Saturday. It was like I was just watching any other. Actually, I could switch at times. Watch services in Atlantis, Sampdoria, and other team, but a classic yesterday, you not move in. You could touch your remote and change the chart. It's like everything has just changed.
Okay, now maybe you can play the EPO log as I just announced the standing in the EPO. Then we'll have actually, Mr. Actually, just to tell us, Winford, just to tell us your reaction over the Man City, Manchester, the Chelsea Manchester game. But let me just give the viewers maybe the standing log in England, where Everton is on position 1, Liverpool position 2, Aston Villa lost the game, so they moved to position 3. Leicester is on position 4. Leeds 5, Southampton 6, 7 Crystal Palace. Wolverhampton is on number 8. Chelsea is on number 9 after drawing with Manchester United. Well, Arsenal lost, again, so they are on number 10. Number 11, we have Tottenham. 12, we have West Ham. 13, we have Man City. 14, we have Chelsea. 15, we have Man United. 16, Brighton, West Bromwich, Burnley, Sheffield United, and Fulham fighting relegation at the end of the table. Now, we are seeing, big teams like Tottenham, Man City, and Man United, even Newcastle, being in the bottom half of the table. Manchester United versus Chelsea. Your reaction, Winford, on that game?
England. But before I even get into this game, let me just, take, one of the things that I've observed on the standings in the EPL. It reminds me of 2015-2016 season when Leicester City, I think, emerged as champions, as EPL champions. We've got Everton, Liverpool, Leeds, Aston Villa. When we look at these 4 top teams, the only team that we expect to be here is Liverpool, the champions, the great teams in England, Manchester United, Manchester City, Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham are nowhere to be seen. So there is just something that is lacking from these teams that I think have really affected them in terms of the games. Coming to the game of Chelsea, Manchester United, I knew that game was going to be a draw. When you look at, I think, for the past 6 games that they've played, Manchester United and Chelsea, Manchester United have dominated. I think Chelsea have only managed to beat Manchester United once. So that simply tells you to say, in this game, Chelsea were not looking forward to losing this game. They were not expecting, I think, to lose this game because Manchester United have done bad on them. When you look at Manchester United, this is a team that is just coming, I think, from beating PSG in the Champions League in France. So they were coming from a win and they were motivated. And Chelsea I think it's a team that was coming from drawing against Sevilla, if I'm not mistaken, in the Champions League, and they were not expecting to lose this game. Manchester United have dominated on them. But the only thing I'm looking at, on these teams, the fighting spirit, how they're going to find themselves in top 4. if they are not going to be very careful, they won't even make it. You are going to see the likes of Leeds. We've seen what Marcel, I think, BS have done, I think, at Leeds. This is a team that managed to score 4 goals against Liverpool. It's a team that managed to score goals against Leicester. But Chelsea, Manchester United should really work, I think, get back to the old days where we used to cheer and support as best teams in England.
I brought up the Chelsea issue on you deliberately, knowing Manchester United and you're also sympathetic to Chelsea, so I wanted to hear your reaction on that one. I'll keep mine reserved. Now, Brian, maybe one of the most interesting encounters, though worrying, is that Aubameyang has played now 5 games in a row without scoring for Arsenal. The first time he's gone that run from the time he shifted to Arsenal. And Vardy had to come from the bench to just actually score a holder to set sanity to that game. Leicester City won against Arsenal. What is your reaction to that game?
If you ask me that question or my prediction of that particular game, I'll straight and point at Arsenal as being the favorite, looking at the performing of late. And after beating City, I think that's down, they were beaten, and coming in them against Arsenal, who are just coming, even I must say, against Austria away in Austria, it want to act as a big motivation, but Arsenal are known for always losing to big teams, losing games that matter, can actually help them top of teams on the log. But in the case for me, I think we do have Arsenal in terms of technical and some, but you have the same Arsenal that you've known them in memory. Arsenal that loses and disappoints, where it's really with it will be difficult for them. Starting whether we are playing, are considered as one of the team that will actually for the EPL trophy. But looking at the way things are going, lost so far. They've lost now to Leicester City. If they can't beat the best, then they should not at any given day expect to be the best.
Okay, well, gentlemen, now, before I let you go, our sponsors for the show are Betway, and if you want to be on our Betway platform, the only thing you have to do is type www.betway.co.com, and you will through to our Betway services. Now, I'm going to ask you the predictions on the game that are happening today, so just tell me which team you think you're going to win, so that the people who are online right now can, make their predictions against the game that we are betting today. Now, in the Premier League, actually, Brighton is playing West Brom. Brian, prediction on that game? I don't know. I'm unable to get Brian. Maybe go to you, Winford. What is your prediction on this game?
I think Wolverhampton versus West Brom. I think it will end. I think as a draw. When you look at these two teams, these are two teams which are trying to put in some enough effort for them to stay in the EPL. It will be a draw.
Okay, draw for you, Brian. Burnley, Tottenham. Which one? Where is your money at? Unfortunately, I'm failing to get Brian, but maybe let me just read the game. So Brighton will be playing with West Brom. Leverkusen, actually in German Bundesliga, will be playing Augsburg. And AC Milan in Italy will be playing Roma, where Burnley will be playing Tottenham FC. And Levante will be playing Celta Vigo. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for coming through on the Finest Television. It's been a pleasure hosting you. I hope we can do this, on Saturday. Actually, as we'll be preparing for the games over the weekend. Unfortunately, time is not our best ally, so I'll have to cut short the program. I know we still had a lot of things we needed to talk about, but thank you very much for coming through, gentlemen. This is, the Finest Television. My name is Gavinda Galimina. Be sure to catch me same, on Saturday, on Saturday 9 to 10 on this beautiful program called Sports Extra. This is KBN, the Finest Television, and I'm out of here. Sport for sure is the only language spoken by all. But beyond all the excitement, the thriller, the joy, and jeering of the crowd, to every winner there should be a loser. But the bigger question is, what makes the difference between the winner and the loser?
Catch me live on KBN TV, the finest television, on Topstar Channel 102, every Saturday 9 hours to 10 hours, and every Monday 18 hours to 19 hours, as every minute, every second of the sport is given an in-depth understanding of its contribution on Sports On. Because on Sports On, we believe stars turn into legends and legends into heroes right before the blow of the first whistle and the sound of the gun. We will take you on a journey beyond the pitch and behind closed doors as we understand the livelihoods of our heroes. Be sure to make a date every Saturday 9 hours to 10 hours and Monday 18 hours to 19 hours on Topstar Channel 102, KBN, the finest television on Sports On. Sports On, powered by Betway. Betway, the right way to bet.